Excellent. Okay. Reverend Ericsson, it's up to you. God bless
you. Yeah, thank you. Are you able to on slideshow? Or...
Yes.
Yeah, it's not critical. As long as people can see that, that's fine.
I'm going to stop sharing for a second so I can do it properly. It's not allowing me to this. Yeah, it's not allowing me to. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I suppose we can. Yeah, it can work like that. I think if it can, as long as maybe if it's just larger, it should be fine. Let me see.
Can you see the screen? Yeah.
Yeah, I can see the screen. Yeah. Can it be enlarged or it's not enough?
It's not allowing me to. It says.
You know, like
it says protected view. Protected view. Did you put a password or something?
No. Where it's saying enable editing, maybe if you press that, it should allow you to, hopefully.
It's not allowing, yeah.
You know, like where it's saying enable editing.
It doesn't allow.
Oh, it doesn't allow. Okay.
Yeah. It's just saying no. It's just not allowing it.
Oh, okay, but are the slides moving?
For some reason, it's not.
No, not.
You have to get that allow editing. Click on that. It will then open.
Because it says the file is protected. Protected view. And it's not allowing me to edit. It's not allowing me.
If it's a zip, it's a file that is a zip, then it will not allow you to open it. So maybe Minister Rex will have to break it down into pieces and send it back to you.
Let me. Yeah,
it looks like the document is protected somehow.
Let me see. Or it could be a different version of. Okay, yeah. Let me see. I don't know. Is see. Because what I can do is.
Can you share from your side?
Yeah. You said. Can you repeat that?
Can you share from your side? Can you share the slides?
Yeah, it's possible, yeah, but okay, I don't have permission at the moment.
Just request it, sir. Let's request.
Okay, yeah.
Let's request it.
Let me see.
Yep, I've given you permission. Yeah.
Okay, let me see. Can you see anything?
Technology. It's technology.
Can you see something?
It's coming up. Ericsson has started screen sharing. Excellent. Yep. I can see all the various folders.
See. No. Let me see.
Yeah. Technology sometimes it just
yeah, I think it's because I think there's a lot of things on my file, so it's
okay.
Yeah. So maybe what I can do, if we're going to have a break, perhaps I could speak if you're able to just show a few things maybe, and then I might have to send, and if we've got a maybe 10 minutes break in between, I could then I don't know, or should we keep on trying? I'm conscious of time.
Yeah, we keep on trying because that file is definitely from your side because it has been protected to guard against it might contain virus. So it has automatically protected it. As far as not allowing me to open it from this side, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we'll do, we put the file on the platform, and then we can just access it. That's the best way.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see if I could try to. Can I share within the chat, maybe?
Yes, you can.
Let me see. No. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay, I managed to open it now.
Have you managed to open it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Manchester United are about to make one of the biggest decisions in their history, and it could happen.
So I'm going to share. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's good. So I'm sure now it's larger.
Yeah, it's large.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, at least we managed to achieve it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's also shared at the chat, so hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So mostly, I think. Good evening, everyone, and it's good to see you once again. I think on this slide, obviously, there are just few slides because I realized that maybe I spoke a lot last time, which was good. But also, I think it's because it's a practical subject. I think it's important to communicate and also to see where people are. So today, my aim is actually about just going into depth a little bit about professional, what it means to be a professional, and in the when we get time, obviously look at some of the specifics with regards to the NHS code of conduct. So we'll see a few things about what the actual conduct code of conduct for the NHS says regarding chaplaincy, and what is a chaplaincy from their definition, and what are the different categories of chaplains. So yeah, so basically we're just looking at what it means to be maybe a hospital chaplaincy, and there will be an exercise that I've sent to Pastor Richard. I think he will be able to share. So that will be obviously interactive at looking at some of the things we might want to consider. So you can move on to the next slide, please. Yeah, so I think it's also reinforcing what we covered last week, but I thought probably just writing it down will also help when obviously people are having to refer back to the notes, and also just to make it just make people aware that this is it. So I think it's important when we talked about chaplaincy last week, and also I think as you were learning that, especially in the NHS, I think it's also important to realize that what are they? So what they are. So chaplains are pastoral practitioners. I think they are there to offer spiritual, emotional, and existential care. Obviously, when people are thinking about end of life and other things like that. So one of the things, obviously, that's important is to know that chaplains are not necessarily counselors, although some might be qualified counselors. There's an issue, obviously, to know that when you are working as a chaplain, you're working as a chaplain. And if you also do counseling, it could be a separate thing. So they are not therapists, they are not managers, although they are chaplains, managers. or they're not, or clergy acting institutionally by default. Although this can also happen that some clergy or pastors, they are representing their denomination and they work as chaplains. But I think it's a different kind of relationship. A chaplain is there to offer spiritual support to patients as they are going through during their time at the hospital. So here I'm obviously repeating this because each of us can come up with our own kind of definition based on our understanding what is a chaplain according to you. So in terms of assignment, let me just mention that it will be also interesting to hear our own perspective with regards what do we think a chaplain is, or what kind of chaplain will I be. So like as I was saying, it's offering spiritual, emotional. People are emotional. People, they are sad, they're happy. So the chaplain is there with them. So it's offering that emotional support. If you trace last week, we talked about the chaplain being there, near death experience. So holding the emotion of the family is also part of that role. And obviously is related to existential care. Obviously, when people think about the future, thinking about dying and other things like that. So who are the people that they are serving in a hospital setting? It's more of people of all faith, as I said, and none, and within organizational boundaries. So that issue of organizational boundaries, it's important, especially as pastors and maybe as people working in congregations. It's important that being in an organization like the NHS or prison or university or wherever we are, there are boundaries that we need to work within. And I think part of our lesson today, we will look at some of those boundaries, or if you like, you can call it the code of conduct, which guides our actions in a hospital setting. So it is important to be aware of NHS trust that one will be working, and also that placement where most of you will be going. So each trust will be different. They've got their different values and so forth. Yeah, so in terms of practical action, so one of the things, because also I was trying to look at the management aspects of it, or to help us to begin to think also in the line of management, is that a role description usually helps in chaplaincy relationships. If you know exactly what you are supposed to do, yes, like as I've said, we're there to offer spiritual, emotional, and existential care. But how does it look like in a ward? So sometimes it might be helpful to be aware of these things. But I'll save the examples for later and for questions also. I don't know if it's making clear. Of course, I can welcome questions if they are there. Yeah, okay, I think some are joining. Yeah, so pastoral care, which obviously I think I might have mentioned last week, it means, yeah, it needs to be defined. There's a lot there in terms of pastoral care, because in education, they also talk of pastoral care. And I think the mature understanding of pastoral care is what is expected as a hospital chaplain. And I will show you that when we look at the code of conduct or some of the indicators or grades of chaplains in the NHS. Spiritual accompaniment, we have talked a little bit about it, just being accompanying the patients during their life in the hospital or during their stay, because some people stay for long, some obviously are just passing through. Religious ministry, this is an interesting one. Mostly it could be that as chaplains we're required to do a religious service. It could be Holy Communion or the Eucharist or what others might call the Mass, which is obviously a term common in Roman Catholicism, but also even in some Anglican churches as well as other places. Without going into the theology, I think what you will notice is that there will be services, a Mass or Holy Communion service in a hospital setting. So the chaplain might be involved in leading, or maybe if you're on placement, sometimes it could be just being there, assisting, talking to people, and maybe taking them to the chapel, to the hospital chaplain. So one of the things is there is needs, or as we are developing as professionals, is to be able to articulate our role as chaplains as a public service, not just faith representation. So I mentioned that last week, but also I'm just putting it there for reference. So professionalism grows when chaplains can explain their purpose in secular and plural language. So the challenge that we have, which obviously we need to think about, is how do we convert our understanding as pastors or as ministers to how do we communicate what we are doing in a hospital in a language which is understood by others, in a language which is accessible, which they can understand, without sounding like we're coming from the all-night prayer and we have not been and we are now coming down from heaven, that kind of thing. Yeah, but in a way which makes people feel that we're normal, we're human beings, and not spiritual, overly spiritual. Although obviously it can be helpful for our own kind of spirituality, but I think it's essential to know that we are there for a different purpose when we go to a hospital. We are there to serve others, and it's a public service. We're doing it on behalf of the hospital, of the community. Yeah, so we can move on. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So this is just another PowerPoint slide that I took somewhere, which I thought might be helpful in helping us to begin to think of. So ICU intensive units. So one of the things, if we can imagine a chaplain in a hospital setting, that they might be part of a medical center, they are surrounded by other staff, other nurses, other people working in the hospital. Of course, other staff includes obviously cleaning staff, professional staff, managers, administrative, and so forth. So what we're saying is that, what is the role of the chaplain there? Or when you go as a chaplain, what are those things? What are some of those things that you can do? So we're saying chaplains, what they can do is they can learn from other team members, learn other team members' names. So just those basic things that we are aware of. Participate in ICU, intensive care unit, huddle. I know I don't know if that language is familiar, but from my understanding, it's more like a group of people who gather maybe for a certain kind of, it could be a safety huddle, or it could be something else where people have got a focus on a certain area It could be in an intensive unit or somewhere else. So a chaplain can also be part of the team that brainstorm. Obviously, they can carry a badger and respond to hospital-based calls. So it's obviously, if I'm not mistaken, that thing that rings or something that lets you aware that obviously you are needed or something like that. There's need for collaboration, as we mentioned about that, and also prioritize staffing. So, for example, if from a management point of view, making sure that there is enough chaplains in a particular ward and that all the patients are attended to. So the medical team, obviously, they've got other roles, obviously learning about the chaplain's name and so forth. So these are some of the actions that they are doing. But I thought this in itself, this slide, when I saw it, I thought it's interesting and it's for information to help us in some of our exercises or assignments in terms of knowing what actually happens in that setting. So we can move on to the next slide. Thank you. So after this slide, hopefully we'll be able, Pastor Richard, if possible, to go through that. So in the background, you can open that assignment. But yeah, so more or less ethical competence. I think ethics is important. So it is important, I think, as we mentioned last time, chaplains operate in the context of vulnerability. People are vulnerable adults, sometimes vulnerable children. So there is also need to be aware that there might be power imbalance. There's power imbalance. The chaplain has got power. And that power they can exercise over patients, and the patients can be obviously powerless, especially when they are going through hardship or some challenges. So we need to be aware that as a chaplain, we've got power. There's also an issue of confidentiality, that what the patients are sharing. It's important that depending with what they are saying, we keep it to ourselves, especially if it's for pastoral reason. However, if they say that, obviously mention something about they are going to kill someone or so forth, and they are not been diagnosed with any mental illness, it's important to take note of that and maybe inform someone. But I think those are some of the things that that obviously as chaplains we are trained. Crisis and risk is one of the ways also that chaplains respond to risk and crisis. So those are some of the, I suppose, some of the questions that I'll be asking in terms of risk, in terms of a crisis. So what happens? What's a crisis? So there could be a crisis. Someone dies in the ward, and what is the chaplain has to do? So more or less those kind of things. I'm just mentioning them just for context. But in the hospital, there might be a way of how do we manage risk, and there might be a procedure and protocol to follow, and what could be the risk. So there might someone might have identified some of the risk, especially more so during COVID. Even chaplains, sometimes they wore mask, and sometimes, especially when it was that bad, some chaplains didn't visit at all. They only spoke to patients via Zoom or Teams, and especially in the north of Yorkshire here, the hospital gave patients iPads, and the chaplains spoke with patients via their iPad, and they could call the chaplain and so forth. So that was a way of managing risk and the crisis situation. So I don't know if there are any questions at this stage. No. Okay. Yeah, so professional development is required as part of being professional chaplains. So familiarity with code of conduct from the NHS, university policies, or somewhere else. So one of the things we'll look at, hopefully, will be the code of conduct by the UK Board of Healthcare Chaplaincy. They've changed their name, but I think they still use that code of conduct. So it would be good to obviously read a few paragraphs, and then I'll give the opportunity to, obviously, for students to read it at their own leisure to help with some of the assignments. So there'll be obviously clear safeguarding knowledge. So to know exactly what happens in certain situation is also part of the professional development required. Ability to recognize when to refer, escalate, or withdraw. So we talked about it slightly in a different way last week when I gave that example that there are some patients that I don't see, although it was a different context. But I think as chaplains, we also need to be aware of our own limitations and to be aware that some things we cannot deal with, we can refer to somebody else. Could be the counseling. So for example, if we are not trained counselors, we then refer to counseling if we think this issue is to do with counseling or something else. So we need to be aware what are those processes or what are those systems in place in a hospital setting to refer patients to. Of course, practical actions. So I know you can train fire safety, fire awareness, and being obviously helping with fire drills and other things like that. So there are other practical things that we can develop. First aid, like I know I've done mental health first aid. So it's also some things that some other chaplains can do depending with their setting. But I know it's also valued in the NHS. And there's also an expectation to undertake regular training in I think, yeah. So I've listed it in the other on the bottom. Safeguarding adults, children, confidentiality and consent, professional boundaries, keeping clear records where required, work within information sharing protocols, and so forth, because some things the counselors might share with you, but they don't necessarily have to, depending with what it is, unless obviously there is an issue. So professional chaplains are trusted because they protect people and institutions. So it's a big responsibility. I think we mentioned that last week, but I think this is just a way of obviously reminding us, but also as prompts as people go back to the notes and the video. Yeah, so I don't know if Pastor Richard is ready with that example, that assignment brief. I don't know if it will create problems with sharing and.
Let's give maybe question and answer while I prepare.
Yeah. That's fine. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So if there are any questions at this stage, I think there could be. I'll welcome questions. Yeah, questions. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah. So I don't see any hand or so. Yeah, but I think that exercise as it is coming, it will help us because obviously it's asking us to think and reflect on chaplaincy. I'm not sure how many maybe have, of course, I think some of you might have been in a hospital, but if yeah, so there'll be an assumption that you, okay, yeah, I think it's coming. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so as I was thinking about it, I then decided to create or come up with an appraisal tool based on our needs. So it can, yeah, I think we can see, I can see, I don't know if others are seeing it. Yeah, so more or less I developed this tool based on our lesson last week, but also based on the questions that were coming last week. More or less because of what I talked about last time, evidence-based chaplaincy, appraisal, supervision, and so forth. So this document, which I hope each of us will be able to complete and send it before our next session, to be helpful to receive a written, it's not too long. There will be 300 words, reflection and developmental actions. Then that will help me to know where are the gaps and what people need. But this is also a document that can be used, let's say, by a supervisor in a hospital in terms of actually appraising the skill sets of the chaplains. So it works in different ways. I think so, because it's something that I've developed based on just the literature and so forth. So if you rate yourself between 1 and 5, so if it's 1, obviously needs development, and a 5, highly effective. So this is obviously what you think. So I'm interested in obviously where people think they are, and it's meant to help us to actually notice or be aware of what we need. So which means that, for example, if you complete this and you go for placement, you will have identified some of the things or your learning needs or some of the things that you need to focus on in placement. And also, when you use this, you can also use it as a CPD log that you can submit to a professional chaplain's board to say, this is what I've been reflecting on my own skill sets as a chaplain. So they like it as well because you're showing your professionalism. So it's not theory, but now you're actually doing CPD, you're actually reflecting. So, and also it builds on what you're learning in terms of reflecting because you are reflecting. So this is just a tool to help you to do those kind of things. And that tool as well is some of the role description. So it's covering a lot of things, as you can see from there. And also it makes you, professional identity and role clarity, which is what we have talked about. It's asked, I can clearly articulate my chaplain's role. So that would be a question that we will need to ask ourselves. Can I articulate that? Yes, no. Does it make sense? So be honest to yourself. And I know Socrates, I was reading another article, in fact, I think it's a newspaper article recently. It was giving a quotation by Socrates, one of the philosophers, to say, I think he was saying, I can teach. He was saying, I can teach. There's nothing new that I can teach you, but what I can teach you is to think. So I think in a way, I think that's my approach, that it might not necessarily be new, but I think it's that idea is to think about what we already know. I think that's when we can think deeply about what we know or things that we already take for granted, then we would have achieved our objective. Because being honest to say, okay, I am a chaplain, but I don't understand that role, it's not a bad thing. I've got people that I work with, they think they know the role, but they are not Yeah, they are not necessarily aware. It's just like more recently, a conversation. I think I don't know if I said it last week that one of the actually a nurse mentioned that it's important that our role is not evangelistic, but she was saying if a chaplain sees their role as evangelistic, then their approach will be different to how they move or carry themselves. So it's important to realize that how we understand our role also can have an impact on how we exercise it. So do I understand and maintain professional boundaries? Do I know what are the boundaries? So that's where the code of conduct will assist us. So it is important to be aware of that code of conduct, which we won't be able to read through all of it because there are a lot of pages, but it will be helpful. Right, I balance faith identity with public responsibility. So I think it's asking ourselves, what is it that we can call public in our ministry? If we're walking around the words, we're being seen by everyone. So it's like we're a public figure, if you like. So how do we balance that presence or public figure role and our own identity as Christians? How do we minister to those with no religion? Do we treat them differently or the same with our Christian brother or sister? Yeah, so it will be important then after to have a reflective comments. I would suggest 200 to 300 words just to talk about that in terms of our identity and role. The challenge, of course, might be if we've not been in a word, but of course I know, yeah. So it could be that you might say, I'm aware, obviously, what a chaplain is and how it differs maybe from being a pastor, and I'm looking forward to working in a chaplain setting. And I'll be curious to know how I could support patients spiritually, or I know I'll be praying for people or something like that. So just to test, obviously, your writing and also your understanding. Yeah. So, and then development action, obviously, it would be, this is what I want to do and so forth. Yeah. So ethical practice and safeguarding, I understand safeguarding procedures and the escalation routes. So in other words, what happens if there is a problem and so forth. But those things, don't worry much about it, because there will be supporting documents that we need to read, especially from the NHS and the code of conduct and so forth. So it will talk about safeguarding. So it will be a matter of reading about safeguarding procedures, escalation routes, and so forth. Yeah, because of course I've got obviously some of the things from the trust that I work with, but obviously I don't know if the recording format might prevent me to share it because maybe it might be confidential. I don't know, but maybe sometime we can look into it. Yeah, so I maintain confidentiality appropriately. I recognize limits of competence and refer when necessary. Yeah, so it's those kind of things. Yeah, so it will be more or less about safeguarding. How do we protect adults? What are the safeguards that are there? So it works differently in different hospitals, like especially in a more mental health or psychiatric hospital, there are more obviously safeguarding safeguards and so forth, maybe than in a general. Although in a general, of course, they're there as well. But yeah, but we'll look at examples. Yeah, so we can move on to pastoral and spiritual care. I create psychological and spiritual safe places. Yeah, so I wanted to ask this question. what are the people's opinion or thoughts so far? Is it making sense, or am I talking to myself?
Yes, I'm hearing it. We're hearing it. We're hearing it. It's making sense. Good sense.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so one of the things is obviously psychological and spiritual safe places.
The ladies haven't said anything. It might not make sense to them.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so I don't know.
So maybe if you give them chance.
Yeah.
Are there ladies here, please?
Yes, it makes sense to me. God bless you, Pastor. God bless you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Yeah, so I think we can continue. Yeah. Let's see if yeah, you can go back to this. Sorry, I meant yes, yeah. So yeah. I think that yeah. So in terms of creating psychological and spiritual safe places, I think why I was obviously centering this one because it could be tricky, or yeah. But I will try to, I suppose, send some other journals maybe for people to try, because I'll give you an example, a personal example, that working with different chaplains, we've got a prayer group. And in that prayer group, we were praying. And when we were praying, obviously, some people might see it as a prayer group for staff or students or for patients. But actually, the idea or the framing around it is that it is a safe space. So we do more, it's more than prayer. Yes, we're praying, but also it's about creating that spiritual safe place where someone can come and feel that they can share their burden, they can be supported. So it's not necessarily just a prayer where people just come and pray and go. But when we are creating spaces, we are actually creating a space where different people can do different things. Someone can come and just like in a hospital setting, it could be a chapel where someone can just come and sit down and listen to soft music and so forth. So that's the kind of thing we're talking about. And also psychologically, obviously, it has to do with that. I think there's something called psychological safety, which has to do with, as a chaplain, I suppose it's something that, of course, I didn't prepare for that, but it's something also that I just came up in terms of psychological safety. As a chaplain, are people comfortable to tell us what they think without feeling judgment? Are we able to receive insults from patients or staff? I mean, not in a bad way, but it's talking about us as individuals, as we are working with people. Do we get angry if the patients challenge us on something that we are passionate about, or if they express a different view? Sometimes, obviously, we might need to check at our own personality types, because we might have a strong view or strong character whereby if we are leading prayer or leading something, we might want our own way. So if we want our own way, which is good in some setting, like in a church context, it might be different. But here we're saying we are creating that space for others to feel that they are part of it. So it's different from a church setting where obviously we might be leading prayer and we've got people who are like-minded and so forth. So yeah, so we need to be aware of that. So deep listening itself, it's also about, I think, of course, I know that some of us might be counselors, I don't know, but it's not only listening to the words, but listening to what is not being said. Because someone might speak but I think something. But what are those things that are not being said that they are saying? It could be body language. It could be the way that they're doing things. So it is also, yeah, we need to be aware of those dynamics. So I think I've talked about that. So yeah, so those kind of things, reflecting on that will be good for me as well. I mean, like as an assignment, just to hear your thoughts on that. So we can move on to the next one. Yeah, so intercultural inclusive practice. I practice cultural humility. It has to do with when we encounter difference or other cultures, are we humble enough to accept that people are different and try to understand? Of course, unless if someone has got any, I don't know if someone has got an example of encountering different faith or religion or something like that. I hope you have obviously different, who have different kind of experience encountering different people, someone from a different tribe and so forth. I don't know if someone wants to share about that.
Yes. So yeah, Ericsson. Yeah, I've encountered that before, because before my previous job as a chef, I worked with the Sikh, the Hindu, the Muslim, and even the a lot of religions that I work with, multi-faith. And as a chef manager, I cannot tell them that, oh, I don't believe in you. Because one thing is that as I go there as a manager, not as a pastor. No.
Yeah.
And that has been my legacy since. That's why they say, oh, if you go to that guy, he take everybody the same. We work as a team.
Right.
All you're talking about is what I've done before, but it's just the chaplaincy is just different. That's why I am coming to it. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It must have been a powerful experience and so forth. Yeah, working with with diversity. Yeah. So I don't know if there's anyone else. Yeah. Okay. So culture. Yeah, I was thinking of something. I can't remember what I was saying. Yeah, but in terms of culture, okay, yeah, Sister Happiness, yeah. Oh, I thought you wanted to say something. Okay, no, that's fine. So I was saying, obviously, I think I mentioned last week that my background is Pentecostal, and I went to work in a Anglican, or found myself in the Anglican or Church of England. So one of the things, obviously, I'm from a Pentecostal, and how I became, or how I sort of like my journey was that when I was part of a Pentecostal, we always thought our Anglican brothers and sisters, they are not religious, or they are not serious, or they don't understand the spiritual things. So we were always criticizing them. They said, oh, look at them, and so forth. I think at one point, I then asked myself the question, who's willing to go and tell them if they are wrong? why is it among us there's no one who's willing to go? So I think that was at the time my calling, that I felt, okay, I'll go and tell them. So how does that look in practice? I obviously started in a Anglican church, which was more Pentecostal or evangelical. And then after that, I then worshipped with went into an Anglo-Catholic, which is the Catholic side or brand of Anglicanism. Where when I went, there were a lot of statues. They obviously were praying to Mary and so forth. So it was an interesting experience, because I was an I was a Pentecostal, and here surrounded by people, obviously, with statues, with doing this incense and everything. But somehow I was willing to learn and to understand where they were coming from. And I realized that I would not be able to help them if I didn't understand where they were coming from. So it was a powerful inspiration. Now, obviously, on the other side, I understand where they come from exactly, because I've been through what their understanding, because I was trying to understand what is it exactly and so forth. So, of course, maybe that's an extreme example, but I'm just mentioning it that not many people are willing to do that. And I'm not saying people should do that, but I'm just saying there's something about encountering difference that's reflective of who we are as individuals, and also that reflects our humility, like as is it Bishop Ola or Archbishop Ola was saying. Meeting people from different religions it can be a challenge. So I think the encouragement there is also learning a little bit about the general or the basic about what they do will not take us by surprise. Obviously, I'm not saying read the Quran or read the some of their readings. No, I'm just saying just the basic to know what they do and so forth. So, for example, in the Muslims, it could be Ramadan and so forth, and the type of dressing and so forth. So, as part of some of the courses the NHS offers, those courses might be there. So just being aware, if that's something that you think you might want to look into, or just find out when you go for placement, just know how many religions are there. So more or less this is part of that reflective. I'm aware of I think most of us, I think from of course if you're from Nigeria, you obviously, I think the Muslims are there as well, and so forth, and other religions and so forth. So we can move on. Is there any questions? Am I moving too slow, or like as you can see, I've reduced the content number of PowerPoints. So no, I think we might have skipped the reflection. I might have skipped the reflection, Pastor. The supervision element. I think it's next. Thank you. So reflective practice. So this document in itself can also work as a reflection and supervision, where someone feels it and then you can reflect together. That's fine. So we can move on. Institutional engagement. I work effectively within organizational structures. I collaborate with multidisciplinary teams. MDT, I understand relevant policies and governance. So basically it's those kind of things. It's part of our role as well. So you can move on. You can move on. Impact. So I can articulate the value of chaplaincy ethically Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think you've done ethics, so I'll leave that to you. But in terms of ethics, I think just to say that for me, if I'm to simplify ethics, is what makes us do what we do. What are our moral values? What are our beliefs? Because, for example, if you're walking in the ward and you see a patient on the floor, would you continue walking and leave them? Maybe you would, but I think just from your view, or maybe if you care for people, you might think, I need to help them. So that's the kind of idea that obviously you have got a moral. Somehow you, based on your religion or something like that, you feel that you have to contribute towards the betterment of society, of making sure that people are healthy and in good health. And chaplaincy can also, depending how you say it, it can also be one way of participating in God's healing process. So you contribute to service improvement in terms of what are the needs in the community, in the hospital setting, and how you can help them, or not necessarily help them, but how you can contribute to their flourishing. And obviously feedback constructively in terms of if you are given feedback that you need to develop this and so forth. How do you respond? Yeah, so it'll be interesting to hear your views on that. So we move on to the next one. Okay, yeah, CPD, yeah. Yeah, so this is a big thing in the NHS, and I mean all over in general. In every profession, I would think. Yeah, in every profession. I engage in ongoing learning. Even if you're a pastor, I think one of the things, of course, as you know, some of you, I'm a pastor. One of the things I was also learning that even in my pastor, I need to also to try to do CPD in terms of trying to do things that I couldn't do before. So one of the things, I don't know, of course, I was speaking from a traditional church kind of thing. When I was preaching, or when I was starting to preach, I used to type everything. And it used to spend a lot of time typing, maybe 1,000 words or 800 words. And I was thinking, why am I doing this? But it was part of my training, and I didn't like it. And then I was talking to one of my uncle and said, this is what we have to do. And he was saying, oh, that's a good thing. And I said, why? Because his own reflection was, imagine you spend 2 years or many years in ministry, and you have no record of your preaching. You have no record of the good thing that you are doing. It's a missed opportunity. So it could be good. He gave me a different view, point of something that I thought it's a waste of time. So now, of course, I try to type my sermon. Yeah, I try to. Yeah, but there was a time I didn't, because I just thought, let me write bullet points. I'm giving myself a lot of work and so forth. But I then realized that if I combine my sermons over years, one can easily write a book. One can easily write things, blogs, and other things like that, which can, of course, help others. And it's the same in a hospital. There is an emphasis on blogs, newsletter, contributing to some things like that. So the question to ask is, if I go to the hospital, what are those things that I might need to learn? Or what kind of CPD do I need to look at? CPD, obviously, I think there's a list. I'm not sure if I sent it. yeah, I could send if need be a CPD log from the professional body. I think every year, like I have to write a log, and it could be just I read this article talking about patients in hospital. I read this article, or I watched this podcast. I listened to this podcast. I watched this YouTube and other things like that. I wrote a reflection of what I learned and so forth. So it's those kind of things. Though you might not be in a role, but you might read something about the hospital. So those are the things that you need to take a note of. Yeah. Okay. So we move on. Overall reflection. Yeah. So strengthen chaplain's practice, primary area for development. So more or less, that is something that obviously, if you've got a supervisor, is something that you can do. So as you can see, there's a priority, action, support required, and if you are a supervisor, you can also work with another chaplain. Yeah, so you can close the, thank you, Pastor Richard. Yeah, so I don't know if there is a question. Or whether people want a break or something, I don't know.
Yes, this is our opportunity to take part. What have we learned today? What section did you not understand, need clarification? Is there something you have experienced in any of the points that have been mentioned? I think it's important that we all, because we're here to learn. And by the time we go to our various workplaces, we can also demonstrate, because this is theory. So let us unmute and learn together. Thank you so much.
I think it's best to do the question by calling each other. If you direct your question to
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. No, that's fine.
Yes, yes, Tutor, you did it. Reverence.
Okay, yeah. I know Sister Happiness or Minister Happiness said something last last time. I don't know if you're there, Sister
Yes,
Happiness.
Happiness Baba Sholo, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Any reflections on what we have covered today, or any questions?
No questions, sir.
Okay, but what have you? Is there anything new or some things that you would like to explore? It would just be good to know. Okay. No, that's fine.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry I joined late.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm just in and out.
Okay, yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah. Anyway, I suppose there'll be that assignment. So I was talking through the assignment. So yeah, so you have an opportunity to go through it. That will be fine.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. No, that's it's fine. So I think who else is it? Theodora, sister Theodora. Sister Theodora. I don't know if she's on call, but she's preparing.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much. From the beginning, I wasn't getting it clearly because the sound was so down,
Right.
and I didn't want to interrupt. So it's
Okay.
just this last part that I got a bit.
Okay. Yeah. So is there any reflection from the last part?
The last time I wasn't here anyway. Oh no,
Okay.
the last part. No, everything is fine. I'm okay. At the beginning, I didn't really get anything
Okay.
clear because
What was it? Was I speaking too what do you call it? You were not hearing, or was it to do with?
I didn't know it's my phone or it's from
Oh,
your
okay,
end.
right.
So because I just
Okay.
didn't want to.
Okay.
It was so down, so low.
Okay.
I was
All
just
right.
struggling to listen.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. No, that's fine. Thank you for that. Yeah, I think next time, I think, feel free to obviously to interrupt and so that we know that we can resolve the issue. But I think on a good side is that there will be some paperwork that can actually help to go through some of the things that I've gone through and to give more knowledge. Yeah. So the assignment will give you the opportunity as well to share your thoughts. Yeah. In fact, everyone, I suppose, we have the opportunity to share so that at least we can see what. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So unless if there's somebody else, I think we can go back to the last part of the PowerPoint and then I can just finish the slides. Pastor Richard, yeah. I think there was left with 1 or 2 slides, I think. Yeah, so, yeah. Yeah, I think it was only, it was just 1 slide. Yeah. The last one. Yeah. So it's the last one. Yeah, that one. Yeah. So it kind of talk about some of the things we were talking about in terms of CPD. So more or less, I think it's. Of course, I'm not aware, obviously, of the theological aspect, whether it's something that we covered or not. But I think if we did, it also will be useful. If we did theology as a subject or not, I don't know. But even from the biblical knowledge, it will still be helpful to think about how does the Bible help us to think about the hospital context and so forth. So learning from research, I think I talked about obviously the journals and other things like that, that, like, for example, that I will share with you as well. In emerging issues, so we know of digital age, mental health, trauma, the use of AI. So there's quite a few things that are coming to look out for. So the encouragement is that we have a CPD log that we can use, and attend some of the interdisciplinary training, not only religious, although that would be useful to focus on only religious, but even interdisciplinary training from other disciplines. Trauma-informed practice, ethics, digital and online chaplaincy. So these are things that we need to be aware of. So I think that's that part, Pastor Richard. I think, I don't know if you're used to taking breaks, because I was going to say suggesting 2 minutes or 5 minutes, and then we can then look at the I think the other competence framework, Pastor Richard.
Sorry, say that again. Which one?
There was another one which was talking about the. Let me just try to go to it. Let me just go.
There's another one that's talking about. Okay, there are actually various professional aspects.
There's another. Let me just try to see
There's
which
code of
one.
conduct, the ban.
Yeah. So if possible, the code of conduct will be good if you can open that as well, and and then the bans one.
So I start with the code of conduct.
Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah.
Now this one is a Photoshop one. It's a PSD file.
Yeah. I think we can say if possible. Yeah. Yeah, we'll just cover a few. So what time can we go up to?
We can, to allow question and answer, another 20. We'll take it to about 7:40.
Okay.
Excuse me. Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Just one minute.
Yeah. So if you are able to share the code of conduct and then the bans, and then I think those will be, just to talk to them. But I think later on, if they could be sent to the students, if possible, or a limited version. I don't know how it works. But I think it should be okay. Yes.
Oh, it's quite a lot of pages. A lot of pages.
Yeah. I'm not going to cover all of them. I just want to. I think the first few pages, especially the first part. I think it could be the first. Let me just open it as well. Let me just open it as well. So this code of conduct, let me see. I think page 3. We'll just go through page 3 and 4. Page 3 and 4 will be fine. Page 3 and 4, and then we can move on to the other document. I think that should be fine. Page 3 and 4 should be fine. Yeah, if it works.
Coming up.
Yeah. Page 3 and 4.
Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I think it's coming up. Yeah. So I think that would be, you can start. So as you can see from the code of conduct, it's important for stakeholders in chaplaincy and spiritual care. Of course, that's the UK Board of Healthcare Chaplaincy. It can be used to promote safe and effective fitness to practice in their place of work. So it supports chaplains. So it's saying educators can also use the code to help standard what it means to be a registered profession. So basically that was the focus of today. So this is just obviously for information in terms of there's a code that we have to follow to be professionals. With this sort of like one of the bodies that is there. So if you move on to the scope of the code, are you able to? So it's saying the code contains professional standards that chaplains must enact when they're providing. So it's neither negotiable and so no discretionary. So more or less it's just best practice. It's saying common standards of practice. So it provides a clear, consistent, positive message to patients, service users, families, carers, and staff about what they can expect of those who offer person-centered spiritual, pastoral, and religious care to everyone. So it's saying also at the end, the code is applicable to a range of different settings such as acute, pediatric, palliative, or mental health, and so forth. So that's the idea behind it, that the code is sort of like a document that can help our chaplains if they become part of a professional body. There's a code that guides them. So it will have other things or specific situation. Yes, so it's worth noticing. Yeah, so more or less, I think there will be something sent regarding the code. It could be if it's too much for people, obviously it could be a limited or a summary, or I can try to provide a summary of the codes if that's helpful, because I'm aware that people are busy sometimes. I don't know. Yeah, but we can summarize the code, and then obviously, yeah. So thank you, Pastor Richard. I think we can look at the final document if it's there. I think it's the Benz. Is it Benz? Benz. Yeah, Benz. NHS Benz. Yeah. I think it'll be in a separate document.
Oh, okay, not this one. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if there are any questions as Pastor Richard is looking for. Yeah. So
and then this one also has a lot of pages. So any specific number?
We can start from just band 3.
So is that page 1, 2, 3? Or...
Yeah. Page 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just to show some of the things, how it's put and so forth, so that obviously they can appreciate how things look like in practice, or some of the way that our professional bodies put things together. Yeah, so it's just for reference and also to be aware of the language that is used. Yeah.
Let's do one by one.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think we can see. Yeah. So pastoral care support worker, obviously it mentions some other few things. So this is just a general, of course, the NHS and other people might have it, but this is sort of like the expectations. So able to demonstrate good standing with an established, recognized faith or belief community or representative body. Awareness of the tenets of one's faith. So in other words, you need to be aware of your own belief, what you believe for. Awareness of pastoral issues associated with healthcare context, of which this is what some of the things we're covering. And then obviously some of the things that we don't cover, obviously the reading materials and also the placement that you will do. So it will support that kind of knowledge and awareness. Yeah, so as you can see, evidence of continued learning in relevant subjects. So it could be a little bit of philosophy, more or less like I'll say, for example, identity issues. How do people know about themselves? Or like, as you know, people have got different categories nowadays in terms of people might describe themselves with different him, her, and so forth. So it's something to be aware of. Evidence of working with people from different faith and belief tradition. So as you can see, it's saying evidence. So in other words, it's not that, of course, I know, you might know that they are Muslims, but do you have evidence of working with those people? So I think part of it also, when we go to placement, it might be that we have a conversation with a Muslim colleague, just ask a few things, or just something that or something like that. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I think it's just being aware of it. I think that will be useful. Evidence of working in a health or social care awareness. Yeah, so that's obviously that's what you get. Awareness of principles of safeguarding, as you can see, audit, service development, research in relation to one's own practice. So in other words, the research, if it's an acute or different, which field of chaplaincy are you going to gain experience in? And do you have any preference? Or you are more of a general, I just want to learn everything, which is also good, and you might learn everything. Yeah, so we can move on to the next one. It could be 2, and so so we'll do the last one maybe because of time, so that we can have questions.
Just bear with me.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah.
You can see the screen, yeah?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think it could be a continuation. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, maybe if we can go to the next bend, if it allows. I don't know if it will allow. Is it coming on photoshoot? Okay, yeah.
Yes, it is
Okay.
Photoshop, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Probably it might be. Yeah, it's.
So you give me the raw the
Okay.
raw work.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Apologies. I thought it was a PDF, but anyway, it's fine. Yeah. So I think from what you can see is that, as you can see on that one, it's saying demonstrable commitment to work within the UK BCHC, UK Board of Healthcare Chaplains, code of conduct. So in other words, it's part of it. So which means that obviously it's important for us to familiarize ourselves with it and so forth. Use of self in pastoral practice, including, I think you like that, emotional availability, cultural humility. We've talked about that. Appropriate self-disclosure. So which means that you have to be aware of what you share with patients. I suppose it would be good to avoid to share something that can be used against you or something that will be crossing the boundaries with patients. Especially, I'm aware of this, especially in a prison setting. And I suppose in most settings, you don't give your number to patients or have relationships or could be just phone call and other things. Yeah, but each trust will be different. But I think as part of those having professional boundaries, let's be aware that we have to have some boundaries of some sort. And it's an opportunity, I think, from that reflection assignment to be aware what are our boundaries or boundaries that we want to establish with patients, with colleagues at work, and so forth. Because I know some people might visit each other and so forth, or do a work party and so forth, which is also good, but also be aware of your own boundaries in terms of time, in terms of, and so forth. So we can stop the recording, please, and Pastor Richard, and then we can see if there are any questions or insights. So it doesn't have to be a comment. It could be also additions and other things like that.
Yeah, excellent. I think I've covered a lot, especially the code of conduct, and especially the first slides, to just give a guideline. I think most of the students as well, some of the points you have mentioned was already covered.
Okay, right.
Keeping professional standards,
the
boundaries,
and
taking notes and stuff like that. So some of them was covered. So, but it's good to just go overview of it. And then again, the assessment that you have outlined, so that we can see exactly what we should be expecting. So that was quite good. And then the different bands. I think that's something new now. That those various bands that are required. I think that's something new. But the challenge here was the information that was given. I think they were a bit too small. Maybe what I could have done if we had more time, could have put on a slide. So that is more. But so far so good.
Thank you. Something to look into, for next time. So if people could obviously complete that assignment, I don't know whether it's realistic before next week. But it'd be good if people can complete that. I don't know, obviously, with other pressures that people might have, but it would be good to, as a way to evaluate, obviously, the learning that has happened, obviously, in previous modules and this one and so forth.
Okay, I will share that on the platform. I saw Archbishop shared something on the platform already, but whatever is missing, I'm not sure if you're already on the platform, so you can also share those, but I shall look at it and see how best the students can have it. Any comments, questions, overview, addition, clarification? I can see Rabbi. Welcome, sir. And Rabbi, I don't think you were here the last time we introduced our tutor, Reverend Ericsson. I believe also Bishop can a little bit maybe elaborate because they know each other more, but this is Reverend Ericsson. You did say a lot briefly last time, but I think this is the first time you're in the class as well. So if there's any additional contribution, just to say hello to our Reverend while the class is on, it is also most welcome. Thank you. Okay. Is Archbishop around?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything from your side in terms of information, any clarification on other matters? Because time is due. We still have time. Yeah, but we still have time.
There's no information or there's no update yet until we have the meeting tonight.
Okay.
So by Monday we should have update about most of the outstanding issues, like the issue of the accreditation to the university. Of course, we have already moved forward graduation ceremony until the placement is also completed.
Fantastic.
So,
okay. Yeah.
Reverend Eric has joined the staff, the lecture staff. So we are doing our best to organize and get us the best. Rabbi is also working out some things. So by the time we all come, it's going to be another level.
That's it.
Sorry, I just moved home, so my setup is not completed yet. I'm just having some complicated system here.
Okay.
And
you can mute one.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, still just trying to set up my desk. The sound equipment is not fully set up yet. I'm just having a mini studio here. That's why I was talking, but the audio couldn't connect. I just want to appreciate Reverend Eric. He appears to be well informed in the subject area, and want to say that we love you, and it's a great joy having you. And I believe you enjoy us as well, and as we work together. Bishop talked highly about you, and I happened to listen to you today. You demonstrated that you are a man full of wisdom and understanding on the subject area. And I can see myself working with you, with Reverend Richard, together to build a powerful IMAC training program. God bless you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. God bless. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for your kind words.
Good evening, everyone. Just thank you for this opportunity to ask the question about the 200 to 300 words assignment. It says after, I know it was mentioned that after completing the ratings, whatever ratings you believe you kind of like qualified for, at the end it says, I wrote my notes, we will outline our development actions on what we want to learn or improve. Does that include the 200 to 300 words, or is that additional words?
Yeah, thank you very much, Sister Paulette. So from the document itself, when you receive it, so of course I was not maybe clear, but it's 200, 300 words each. So which means out of maybe 7 points, there will be about 800 or so, depending how you write. So 200, if you obviously if you're finding writing maybe challenging, or you are, yeah. So 200 is the minimum. So out of 8 or so of those kind of issues that are being, like professional identity, for example. So I'm asking each of you, if possible, to write a reflection on what you think about professional identity. So all those things that I've gone through, for each one of them,
okay,
I would expect something, a conversation in writing about how you see yourself, or more or less something about your own experience so far and what you would want to further develop.
Okay, thank you very much. So it's 200 to 300 words per point.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's very important that we ask questions about the assignment. Very important. Because it will be treated as part of your credit for the modules. Reverend Richard will say something on that.
Yes, absolutely. If there's any adjustment on the assessment in terms of the timing of completion. Now, remember, we are coming to the end of April. Next week is a new month. That means we are coming to a close of this coursework, of this assignment, of these modules. We want to wrap it up as fast as possible. That's why there's a need to put that assignment together on the little that we have learned, especially on these modules. But more of it will be covered again thoroughly on another semester, on another course altogether. But we feel that this is enough to give us a good grounding to step into our placement and to proceed from there. So once we finish this assignment, the course is going to come on an end, and we're going to prepare for the graduation, which Bishop has mentioned. Archbishop has mentioned that it has been pushed forward, but it gives us the opportunity to have that work placement. The work placement. We're working very hard behind the scene. In fact, we're just geared up for the next meeting of the connection we want to have in the USA. So as soon as this course is finished, the few of us are going to connect to America to put together. So there's a lot of work going behind the scenes. Yeah. If there's any other questions, I'm also available. Either you can put it on the platform. You can also call Archbishop, myself, Rabbi, for any clarification. But if not, for this class, we're going to close it off because we're preparing for another, another connection that we're trying to establish with the USA. Reverend Ericsson, thank you so much.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry, quickly, sir. Is this assignment based on everything we've learned or what we've learned today? Is it based on what we've learned from the start, when I've started, up until now?
Now, if you look at the guideline which was put on the screen, you'll notice that some of the topic was already covered.
Yes, that's right.
So it will a little bit also cover what we have learned before.
Yes.
In other words, it's just covering a little bit of, it's also taking us a little bit back.
Okay.
What we have learned. Yeah, so it will cover a little bit of what also we have learned, but a bit of more on this module. Because remember, this module is all about doing research.
Okay.
We want to be able to write a research, do our investigation, and be a professional chaplain.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, sir.
And please, we live in the age of technology. That means AI, Gemini. Let's not delve too much into that issue. When we say AI, I think we know what we mean, but let us not use AI to complete this assignment. Many universities have been caught out using AI to do their coursework, designation, and so forth. Let us use what we have learned. Because when we go to our work placement, you're not going to use AI. So when we talk about the 200 words, 300 words, I know when you put on Gemini and the rest, it can generate things for you, but we don't want to use that. Let us write what we have learned. Okay. We're gearing for another meeting, so we're going to, let me just allow one more person to enter. Pastor Theo, are you with us?
I was just going to ask, please, if I may, Mr. Richard.
Yes.
Please, will the questions be sent as what was generated whilst we're having the teaching from Minister Ericsson?
Say that again. I think Pastor Theo was talking. Say again, please.
I was asking that, will the questions of this, the test that we're going to do, will it be sent to us via your end, or is it what was seen on the screen whilst Minister Ericsson was giving his lectures? How is it going to be? Is it via email, or how is it going to be sent to us, please?
We shall finalize that. I'm going to speak to him in a minute, and then we shall find a way of sending it across to yourself. So I will update you on the platform.
Right. So if that be the case, that it cannot be on Monday, can it? It can be a week after Monday then.
Yeah.
God bless you for that.
Yeah, because he mentioned that we're going to their submission is going to be looked at. You heard him say the submission.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at that, and then we'll come back to you on the submission, because as you said, Monday is going to be too early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
That's okay. Pastor Theo, are you with us?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Pastor Ife. Okay, yes. You've been in and out.
Yes, my line was cutting, so I just came in. That's why.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you get all the information about the assignment, the essay, the coursework?
Hello, sir. Are you talking to me, sir?
To either yourself, sir. Either yourself or Pastor Theo, because the two of you have been in and out.
No, sorry. I didn't.
Okay, we shall share the information. We shall share everything on the platform.
Okay, thank
Yeah, the
you.
assessment on the platform, because the two of you have been in and out. So that was my concern.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Can I, sir, ask one more question? Are there any reading materials, or is it just basically what we've learned, the notes that we've taken since the start?
You have seen on the screen, there was a lot of information that Reverend Ericsson was sharing. So that one, I will convert it,
Yeah.
and then I will share it on the platform.
Thank you.
So there's going to be materials, plenty of materials for us to go through and get everything.
Thank you.
Excellent. Let us bring the class to a close. As I mentioned, for those, the two that have just been in and out, we are coming to the end of the course. And what an honor and privilege. You know, we started on the 1st of September 2005. Here we are over 6 months, every Monday and every Saturday. It was only the Easter time that we missed because of the commitment in our various ministries. But look what we've achieved. And I believe that this course have not just enriched my life, but each and every one of us. And I believe everybody now have seen chaplaincy in a different manner. Yes, we are ministers. Yes, we have in our various capacity in office, in ministry. But we can see that there's a uniqueness in chaplaincy. Being a pastor can be in a certain setting, in a church setting. But when we come to in the community setting, we find the importance of chaplaincy, that we are there to give our presence. We are there to give a listening ear. And it's not so much of believing God to heal this person or to heal, to bring healing and deliverance. The mindset that we have in church is a little bit different. We have learned so much. We have learned about working in the multi-faith settings. You're going to come an environment. You're going to see an imam, a Sikh, and worst of all, somebody who doesn't even believe in God or in any supernatural being. No faith, but they're offering the ministry of chaplaincy. We learn that we can work in that settings because there's needs in mental institutions. There are needs in hospitals, in schools, in prisons, in military, in airport. So I believe this chaplaincy has broadened our mindset. This 6 months has really impacted my life. Me as a tutor, I've also learned from Dr. Femi. I've learned from Bishop Fastina. I've learned from Rabbi. I have learned from Reverend Ericsson and the various tutors that we've been having in and out. I want to appreciate so much also our Archbishop, Dr. Joel Oluwafemi, for entrusting me with these modules to run it. I appreciate him for trusting me. And thank you, all the students who has been part and parcel of this from day one. I believe this course has enriched your life. Appreciate you so much. Let us close in prayer. We've got a couple of lessons that's coming up. Please let us be part of it. We're coming to a close. Let us finish it on a high note. Yes. Bishop Ola, if you can hear me, sir, can you close us in prayer? And then we shall see everybody again.
Thank you so much.
Monday. God bless you.
Father, we thank you and we give you the glory. Thank you, Lord, for the ministry of chaplaincy. We give you praise. We thank you for Archbishop. We thank you for the vision. We thank you for all our lecturers. We appreciate you. Lord, we thank you. Because for me, working in the ministry for 40 years, I still thought that there's something like chaplaincy. I know, but it's a different level. Lord, I thank you. And I'm part of the course. I just give you the glory. because it's a blessing being here. Lord, we thank you. We appreciate you, mighty God, for everything. Blessed be your name, God. Thank you, Lord, for tonight once again. It's been a pretty blessing. We give you the glory. Thank you for what you're doing in IMAC and for what you're about to do in IMAC. We want to give you thanks and the glory for everything. Blessed be your name, O God. In Jesus' name we pray with thanksgiving. Amen. Amen.